Hey guys, Ghost Activity here. We just got another update from Grinding Gear Games. This time got talking about the changes they're going to be making to monster speed in the campaign. So I just want to go over this real quick. So many players have reported being overwhelmed by monsters. The cause of this is a variety of factors and we are addressing them on a case-by-case basis. We have listed monster changes act by act below. We are making the following changes more generally. Many human monsters, including cultists in Freythorn and the Faradun, and the tribal humans in Act 3, have behaviors where they can interrupt their melee attacks if the player moves too far out of range during the attack, especially for attacks that have multiple hits like swipe left into swipe right. These interrupt events have been primarily removed, especially on things that were attacking very fast, as it caused the monsters to be relentlessly able to pursue and attack you, giving you no time to engage or use skills between their attacks. Yeah, obviously. The haste aura monster modifier no longer appears on monsters that are already fast. Werewolf prowlers and tendril prowlers will now enter a walking stance as opposed to running after performing a melee action. They will only begin running if you get a certain distance away from them. This behavior has been applied to many faster monsters. Hungering Stalkers now have 12% less life and damage. They were already relatively weak, but have been lowered a bit further to account for their high movement speed and attack speed. They are intending they are intended to engage and attack quickly, but be weak and die fast. Reduce the number of bloom serpents in the Red Vale. Halve the number of venomous crabs in the hunting ground. The cultists in Freythorn no longer have interrupt events on their attacks as described above. The cultists in Freythorn wielding axes and maces in Freythorn now walk after performing a melee action, only running again once you exit a certain distance. Blood cretins on death Blood cretins on death pool. Wait, what? Blood cretins on death blood pools have had their duration decrease from 6 seconds to 4 seconds and fix the area of effect to match the visual more closely. Reduce the overall density of more challenging monsters in Orga Manor. Yeah, the problem too is it's not just monster speed, but the density in a lot of these zones too is just too high. And that's also leading to the why we're getting swarmed. It's not just monster speed, it's density. So they're looking at that too and addressing that as well. It's good to see. So Act 2, the Boulder Ants in Titan Valley have been replaced by Risen Mariketh as a as the area has too many monsters that have had irritating movement. Excuse me. Faradon have been modified to remove the interrupt events on their attacks described above. Act 3, Dire Tusk Boars and Antolon Chargers are now more likely to push you to the side instead of pushing you along with them when they charge you. So these are the roly-poly that just roll across the map and they take you on a ride with them. So now they're just going to push you to the side. I hope that's. We'll have to wait and see if that feels any better, but it sounds like an improvement. I'd rather just not be pushed and ragdolled around at all. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why. How could that be intended? Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I don't think anyone enjoys that, but I suppose that's an improvement. I don't think we need any of that in the game, though. What that serves no purpose. It just feels bad no matter what. So, anyways, now we'll be pushed to the side instead of them taking us on a ride over across the whole damn map. The Lost City monster pack composition has been adjusted to result in less ranged monsters. Massively adjusted the Azak Bog. Firstly, the aforementioned changes to interrupt events, but also changed the monster composition to areas to have less ranged and elite monsters. Fixed an issue where Slither Spitter Poison Spray in the Venom Crypts was dealing chaos damage instead of physical damage. Yeah, that's an improvement. Thank you. We have also identified another issue that affects some areas with potential monster spawn locations having inconsistent density in different rooms. That's what I was pretty much just talking about, I think. This leads to a situation where some rooms are much denser with monsters than others in an unintended way. We have a fix for this problem, but did not make it into this patch. It will be deployed at a later patch. So great. So they understand that there is too much density in some of these zones as well. Good. Thank God. Hopefully this makes it feel a lot better. Only time will tell. It should, but we'll have to see for ourselves. These are not the only changes we'll be making to monsters. Further changes will come later updates. Some changes we didn't get to in time today, and others will require new animations that will take a lot longer. Boss changes: Viper and Apudzi. is one of the more challenging bosses for players, so we made the following change. I just want to talk about the bosses that I struggled on my campaign journey. The hardest boss by far for me was the Act 2 boss, Jamun-Ra. I think I got Viper on like two or three attempts. I'm not gonna go into how many attempts it took me on Jamun-Ra, but let me know what you guys how you guys fared in your campaign journey. I certainly struggled, and I think everyone did. And anyways, continuing on, Viper Napuzzi lowered the amount and size of Chaos Reigns, the purple ones, the Chaos on the ground, I guess, the ground effects in the Viper Napuzzi fight, and clean up the visuals left afterwards. What? Let me read that again. Lowered the amount and size of Chaos Reigns in the Viper Napuzzi fight, and cleaned up the visuals left afterwards. What? And cleaned up the visuals left afterwards faster to make the following drop locations more obvious. I feel like that's kind of worded a little bit weird, but okay. Uxmal had various quirks that made him somewhat annoying to fight. We may have made a few changes. Reduce the number of times Uxmal changes locations through the fight. Can no longer recharge energy shield while in the air. Uses flame breath less often. I'm not going to pronounce that name. Had some issues with visibility of his effects. The area has had its ground foliage removed in order to make effects more visible. Player minion changes. We have changed the ways that minions' revive timers work. When your first minion dies, it sets the revive timer to 7.5 seconds, as before, but each successive minion that dies increases it by less and less, still capped at max 7.5 seconds. This should heavily mitigate the situation where most of your minions are dead, but the revive timer keeps resetting to 7.5 seconds over and over. Disenchanting a Bind Spectre or Tame Beast gem will unbind them, allowing you to use them again. Tame Beasts can now fit through gaps of the same size that the player can. Other player balance. We do not have a lot of other player balance changes on top of the ones described yesterday, but we did manage to sneak in the following additional changes. Rally support is no longer restricted to strikes or slams. It can now support melee attacks you use yourself. Glory used by Hammer of the Gods and Spear of the Solaris is now no longer consumed if you are interrupted while you use the skill. I was hoping maybe they would just get rid of Glory, but okay, whatever. Fix the bug where blood boils from the Ritualist Ascendancy didn't propagate if the monster exploded on death, such as when you're using Herald of Blood. Okay, here's crafting changes. Wonder what this could be. We have now finished adding all of the mods to runes for caster weapons. Desert, glacial, blah blah blah. Inspiration, stone, vision. Okay, so all the runes work on wands and staves and caster weapons with their own set of modifiers. Renly's abandoned shop in the Burning Village now also has a blank rune. What? Renly's abandoned shop in the Burning Village now also has a blank rune which Renly can forge into an elemental rune of your choosing in case you didn't find any upon that point. As mentioned yesterday, 12 Artificer's Orbs now drop at fixed locations through the campaign in addition to the random drops and salvageable ones. Performance improvements. The ground foliage in many areas had an optimization pass to improve performance. 0.2.0e deployment timeline. That's all we made for 0.2e. The patch will be deployed around 10 a.m. New Zealand. We have also made some changes internally, but they didn't make it for this patch. The following list of changes The following list of changes that will already be deployed after the weekend. These are not the only changes that would be made this patch. These are just the changes that we already have. Charm changes. Charms are a system that we never adequately expanded on and have had several problems that we will finally be addressing. Oh my, here we go. Overall, we want charms to be more useful and for you to be more easily able to use more of them. First, the changes to charm slots. Charm slots on belts are now granted by implicit mods and are added to belts depending on level of the area that dropped them. The number of slots is random up to a cap depending on how high the level of the belt is. You can use a divine orb to reroll the number of slots. Belts have one charm slot until level 32, up to 2 until level 64, and up to 3 from level 65 and onwards. That's a nice change. And here's unique belts can always have up to, oh, that's great. That's so good. That's so good. I still don't like charms. I'd rather just have flasks. I know we might not get that, but I suppose this is a pretty solid change. That's a pretty solid change, especially for the unique belts. For now, unique belts with mods that increase the number of charms will still be capped at 3. Later on, we'll remove the cap. Changes to charms themselves. Several charms are not protecting you from the hit that activated them. These cases have been fixed to work properly. We've also done a pass on charm mods to make them more powerful and rewarding. Alright, awesome. Stash tab affinities. This is what I've been looking forward to, and I bet everyone was just dreading having to drag all these individual items or whatever into. So okay, great. They're adding stash tab affinities for socketables, fragments, which includes tablets and trial keys. Oh, that's so good. Breach, expedition, and ritual. We'll also be allowing charms to go into flash. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, here. Finally, Atlas bookmarks. We've added the ability to bookmark locations on your Atlas to find them easily later. Right-clicking a node will allow you to bookmark by picking up an icon. Right-clicking a node will allow you to create a bookmark by picking an icon and optionally adding a label you can type in. You can have up to 16 bookmarks at a time. They will appear as icons outside of the screen with a direction allowing you to scroll them easily. They will appear as icons around the outside of the screen with a direction allowing you to scroll them easily, or you can click on them instantly to take you there. You can also view a list of bookmarks under the legend and click them to go there. So that's a lot of great changes. It's a good start. So let me know what you guys think. I'm excited to get this patch. Hopefully it comes soon. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.